Dan Williams, Thrive Outdoors. If you're new to this channel, just to let you know what we do, we do wilderness medicine. That entails zoonotic illnesses, mosquitoes, ticks. We also talk about certain traumas, animal attacks. If you get injured in the outdoors, we do gear reviews and practical survival. So today we're going to be talking about the benefits of squirrel in terms of diet and how that's going to play a role in your survival if you're in a situation long term. I'm also going to show you some tips and tricks on how to find them. One of these tips goes back 60 years. My father basically taught me when I was a young boy. So here we go. So up here in northern Illinois, we have a couple shagbark hickory trees right next to each other. And you can look at those leaves, and that is your classic hickory tree. The bark is pretty significant. If you look at the bark, and you can understand why they call it a shagbark hickory. As the bark starts to peel away, it looks like from the tree. And down here, if you look at these, down here we have all of these shavings from the hull of a hickory nut. And right here is a hickory nut that the squirrel gave up on. So I'm going to show you some photographs of what I did. Is I took my knife and trimmed some of the hull off, and you can tell then by the color of the hull how long the squirrel has been up in that tree. So the first photograph here is a hull that's been cut, and that's been sitting there for about 5 to 10 minutes, and you can see how yellowish, greenish white that hull is. And that tells you that squirrel is definitely still up in that tree. And the next photo here, this one, it's now been sitting out about 10 to 20 minutes. And then the third one, about 20 to 30 minutes, and the last one is greater than 30 minutes. And you'll see how it progressively got darker. And that's how you can tell how recently that squirrel has been up in that tree. You have a 30 or 40 foot tree, hickory tree, it's very difficult to find a squirrel up there many times in the woods and in the wilderness. They're not your park district type squirrels. Every state in the U.S. has squirrels of some type, so they're very, very plentiful. Recent post by Department of Conservation that you could really deplete the squirrel population by 80% and not make a dent and there's no concern about wiping out the squirrel population. So squirrels are very, very good. They're high in protein, low in cholesterol, and low in fat. Obviously, a high protein diet is not really good for you in the long term. Long term defined by 6 months or greater. So you have to substitute that with something. However, it is something to live on in a survival situation. So I also, in a video coming up, we're going to talk about snares and show you how to snare these little critters, and down the road, hopefully, how to prepare them for you and show you some different ways to cook them. Once you've identified there's a squirrel up in a tree, it's not so simple that you're just going to shoot it out if you have a 22 or some weapon. Because as you hunters and outdoorsmen know, a squirrel will clearly go to the other side and flip to the other side of the tree, knowing that danger is down there below. So one of the things you can do is you take a rope, a string, ideally, is smaller. So you're going to take that string and you're going to tie it to a tree, let's say on the other side of these hickories over here. You're going to back off and run that string about 20 to 30 yards. And then what you can do is you can shake that string, and that bush will then shake, and the squirrel will then flip to the other side, and there you go. That is an old trick. Everyone knows that one. Works really, really well. The main thing with squirrel hunting is be patient. If you find a den tree where there's squirrels den or nest in, It's really beneficial just to sit in that area for a period of time. It could be up to an hour. Eventually they're going to basically come out in the morning and go back to that den tree at night. So, the benefits of squirrel. Protein, in a pinch for sure. Very, very good eating. It was Queen Victoria's favorite meal, if you look at your history books. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. This was a quickie today on the benefits of eating squirrel and in a survival situation, as well as some tips and tricks on how to find those little furry critters. Coming up real quickly, we're going to be having a video on deer tracking. We're going to put to test my 40 to 50 years of experience in the woods on tracking large game. Stay tuned for that. I think you'll really enjoy that, and hopefully you might learn some new tips on how to track your large game. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your face to the wind. Until next time, stay safe.